We are live. Excellent. I'm going to play a song from an old Ragdoll CD for you guys.
Wasted
Whoa! Man, I haven't played that one all the way through maybe for a couple of years. We used to play that every single show, and it used to be the most challenging song in the set. I think it probably still would be, because I spend half the time playing these chords. So it's like your, what is that? That's C sharp. Well, I'm down a half step at the moment. Your sus2 with an open B and an open E string. And the cat has chosen the perfect time to want to go out. It's part of the daily routine. Go on. Thinking about it. Thinking about it. No. Come on. Alright. Stay there. Be incredibly cute. Alright. What's up, everyone? Got a few people in here. I'm going to read through some of the little comments. Hopefully there are some comments. How do I get to the chat? There we go. We have people from the Mediterranean and from South Florida. And, oh man, do you guys want to see this cat up close? My gosh. Hey, come on, superstar. So you guys have seen the really big cat. He actually had a litter of kittens years and years ago, like 15 years ago, and this is the one that was left, and she's also thick and furry and absolutely adorable, aren't ya? You gonna step on some stuff now? No, not happy about this. Gone. All right. Do you guys have any questions you want me to answer, or that song that I did? I try to make this a little thing. I just play like a different song that I've played on every week, and that one's called Self-Censored, and that's like the working title for that was Rush Police, because yeah, I mean, you heard it. There's a lot of these Alex Lifeson. Those chords. It's really difficult to play standing up, holding down these like static, you're basically doing this for the whole gig, and then the only time I get to step on some gain and play the solo, there's some really speedy stuff in it, like James. Oh, hey man, what's up? One of my favorite Ragdoll songs. That's one of mine as well. If our stuff ever comes on or something, this is the one that I want to hear. Where are we in the chat? Sirius bought a Marshall 6100 because of your video. It's a really good amp. Congrats, man. I really hope you're enjoying it. That's awesome. Andy V, hey man. Thanks for getting in the chat. Who wants to have fun with the hurricane? Oof. Ooh. Hasn't quite been hurricane levels, but it's been very, very windy and very, very wet. Excellent. Thank you, Warren. I worked really hard cleaning up my room. Last night, as part of the... this is great because it was raining and a cat loves water. He's a Maine Coon and they're renowned for loving basically being wet. And it started raining and we're like running around looking for the cat. He was just laying on my bed the whole time. Totally wet. So he just right where I sleep... absolutely left this ginormo saturated patch and changed all the sheets and then woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of the cat going bleh. So that was an interesting long evening. I wonder if this cat does want to go out. Come on. Are you sure? Or do you just want pats? Is that what you want? tell you what, I'm just going to leave that open for now. Perth is horrendously windy today. Crazy, crazy. What was the other question? I was saying hi to everybody. If anybody has any specific questions. The Lynch Axe Effects preset. Oh, that's cool. I'm really glad you like that. I think I still have that on here. I have this terrible habit of just deleting presets that I haven't backed up. Nah, we got the George one on here. That's a good one. I wonder how it sounds with this. Bit of gothic octave in there. Yeah, that's cool. It's got that plexi like Kerrang thing about it that I like. Awesome. Did you notice any audible noise coming from your tube expander? Mine has really started to violently buzz. No, nothing like that. So I would contact either their support, if they have support, or take it back to the store where you bought it, because that really doesn't sound normal to me. Let's see, Montreal, Germany. Where else have we got? Florida. I love someone in here saying Slayer. That's awesome. What would you guys... Starting to feel like spring in South Australia. Ooh, about 2 days ago started to feel like spring in Perth, and then we got hammered. Okay. Drinking some coffee as well. Who's drinking coffee? This stuff's pretty good. There's a local place here that roasts all their own beans. And I like black coffee. And they have a lot of single origin stuff, which is really nice. G'day, Rodolfo. Thanks for tuning in, man. Yeah, they have a lot of single origin stuff, and they upsold me on this blend of 5 different Colombian ones, and it's really quite smooth. It's quite nice. What was I going to say? Yeah, you know, what I thought might be fun as well, if you guys want to hear some like old ragdoll songs as well. There's, if you guys like want to hear some of the ballady stuff we've done, because that was a big thing. We used to write a lot of ballads. I'll play you this one and see if I can remember how to play it. Break You could be a good start. Oh yeah, all right. I got the right guitar for it. That's a lovely. I always introduce this one at shows as a 6/8 jazz ballad, and people kind of go, "Oh, time to get a drink." And that's obviously not a 6/8 jazz ballad. That's the joke. Let's see. What I might do is get in the right tuning. So we used to do a lot of stuff in drop C sharp and one tour, because we did about 30 shows in a row. It was like, oh, should we just go down to drop C to save Ryan's voice? And then we just kind of stuck with it because we really liked the way we sounded. I came across one of your YouTube videos by accident 2 months ago. Awesome. Out of curiosity, Danny, what were you looking for? Because I'm always curious to know how people find this stuff and subscribe, and, you know, it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool anyway. One ragdoll song that reminds me of Quiet Riot every time I listen to it. That's cool. I'm trying to think what one that could be. You bought an Axe Effects 3. Sick. Congrats, man. Alright, Break You was a Marshall and a Jet City. So I'm going to bring up a preset with, what should I use? Obviously a Marshall. I might use like an Atomica style thing, because I love that amp in here. Alright, let's do Break You. This is a fun song. Before we do this, talking about residual crackle, do you mean this? I think you probably want to adjust the gate. It's 3:38. It's 9:38 in the morning here. Anyway, we're going to do Break You. Your mum graduated with Andy Timmons. Ah, how cool's that? Is it true that he's the nicest guy in the world? Because I've never met Andy, but I come really close a few times, and everyone I know is like, Andy Timmons, best dude. All right, we're going to do Break You. Man, that's a ball terror, that song. Because you got to play it all downs, of course, which I never do. So some weird chords. This is very much a Leon guitar part. There's these like inverted, you got your like 80s style dyads. I think I probably got the idea for this from what's that Winger song? You are the saint, I am the sinner. Something like that. It's got a wingery vibe to me, more than anything else. But there's like these chords, and then like that. Kind of like wingery. There's a bit of that Van Halen Unchained thing. There's a bit of Rat. And then I use these chords quite a lot. Use sus2, like, you know, if you're playing in... There he is. Hasn't gone out. I think just wants to participate in the chat. Probably just wants to be Pat, actually, because this cat goes absolutely bonkers for pats, don't you? I think she's also a bit deaf. Got your winger. But yeah, anyway, so taking those like nu metal sus2 chords, and then like then getting your thumb over the top, and it's really, I'd hate anyone to have to learn this. So that's ugh. Yeah, and I do that in quite a few other songs, like the end of Shine goes which comes from trying to play two parts at once. Like a lot of the time I'll write something and be like, oh, that would be a nice overdub. And it'd be cool to have these chords. All right, I actually have some questions I should answer. People talking about loudness, fantastic. What tuning? Drop C sharp at the moment, drop C normally. He's old enough. I'm 31, if anyone who wants to know. Akira Takasaki is amazing. Let's see. Bias amp videos. Oh, cool. Yeah, that was a fun little video to do. Whitesnake, yeah. Oh man, 100%. You know, that 1987 album has so many of those. What is that? You're gonna break my heart again. That's a great one. Oh man, Winger and Reb, love it. Let's see. Can I do some Skid Row? Yes. I'm sure in 20 years, Phil, we're talking about the hair, that I might be in a similar situation. So I'm just lucky that I'm young and, you know, blessed with genetics. Ragdoll we named after our drummer's cat, which is a ragdoll. So there you go. I think a Corinna Explorer is worth buying. I've played a couple of those Corinna Epis and they're really, really good. So if you find one for a decent price and you like it, do it. All right. Where are we at? Where are we at? Andy Timmons, we're talking about this. More cowbell, definitely. Awesome. This is really cool. Somebody asked a pretty good question here. I think it was Danny. Your thoughts on being a musician and being in a relationship? How do you balance both, and can it be done? Yes, it can be done. I guess it's no more difficult than anything else you're trying to balance. But a great piece of advice I once heard was that if you're going to be successful at something, say it wasn't specifically talking about, like, you know, being in a relationship. It was talking about I think having a family, which I don't have any kids, so that's super easy. Ryan, our singer, has 4 kids, and how on earth he balances everything, I have no idea. He would probably tell you that he doesn't, but he does. It's pretty awesome. But I think if you're going to be successful at whatever you do, you realize pretty quickly that the important things in your life aren't actually the things you're trying to do, like be a musician or, you know, be a pop star or be a CEO. The really important things to focus on are, you know, your relationships and your family, and they're the things that actually matter. And if you're going to be successful, you're going to do all those things anyway. You know, you're gonna do the successful stuff, and in some ways it'll take care of itself if you've set yourself up right. And you almost just want to make sure that, you know, say you wanted to be a musician, and whatever that means, if you wanted to be somebody who's playing music full time, that's difficult because you're probably playing at night and you're probably playing on weekends all the time, which is obviously pretty hard because it's like, hey, you know, you want to go out to dinner? Oh, I can't. I've got a gig at some shithole pub down the road. So that's the thing that really makes it hard, and trying to strike a balance. And sometimes you have to say no to gigs. That's something that I've learned, because my attitude is say yes to everything. Sorry to interrupt. The last song I played is called Break You. Yeah, you know, really, like, if you're gonna pursue music, that's one part of your life, and if you pour everything into it at the stake of, what am I trying to say? And you sacrifice every possible relationship and friendship and everything like that, then I don't think that's a very healthy way to be. Personally, cultivate those relationships, and anybody worth being with will understand, you know. Will understand that, hey, I'm a musician and it's a little bit different, and, you know, I don't work a 9 to 5, and, you know, take it or leave it kind of thing. I think that sort of has to be your attitude. Not to say like burn every bridge, but yeah, that would be my advice, is actually, you know, no doubt you work hard at being a musician and practicing and all that kind of stuff, but the really important stuff in life is people, I think, anyway. Because, you know, if you cut your hand off, you won't be able to play guitar anymore. But, you know, hopefully your partner will still love you, and, you know, you can still do all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of always the way I rationalize it. I'm very lucky. My wife is super, super understanding and puts up with so much of my musicianness. Making blues scales with jazzy runs that sit well with the chord progressions. Any hints to start learning this? Yeah, this is something that... do I do Skype lessons? Yes, if you go to musicon.com, Big Spoon or Little Spoon? Little Spoon, all day. All day. Getting a lot of questions. This is awesome. These are really good questions. So yeah, the therapy, that got to... because you're incredible, I'm buying an Axe and a new Dean Flying V. Yes, that is a sick rig, dude. Awesome. That's the Ken Burkard. Good in the clean sound as well as your current overdrive. How to keep harmonic integrity on an overdriven chord. I'm jumping all over the place, but I'll try to get everybody's questions. Ragdoll cats are great. Whoever said that. Kiesel guitars. I've played 1 or 2 Kiesels and really liked them. I played a Vader that was awesome. 20 watt tube amp to play gigs. I used to gig with a 15 watt Dark Terror, so yes. Oof, awesome. Pickup selector's wrong. All right, we're catching up. Here we go. What's the deal with the triple neck? Ooh, that's an interesting question. We'll get to that one in a sec. What was I asking? What was I answering? Clean sound. So these chords... Oh, yeah. One good trick is if you're trying to do these like inversions, the way you stack them up is really important. And I find if I'm playing something like this chord, to leave the 5th out. So rather than play this, I try to play it. So play the low note in the chord, and then play the higher part of the chord, not necessarily together, and that gets you, that kind of breaks it up, like, rather than... But then there's some songs we do where it's like I'm playing this chord. Whoop, that's not the chord. I'm a little bit out of tune. And then this chord... So yeah, it's a bit of a balance. Sometimes you have to embrace that intermodulation distortion you get with complex voicings. It's part of the sound. In terms of what are we talking about? Using the blues scale to play jazz. That's not really the question you're asking, but that's the way I'm going to phrase it. Where's my clean sound? We don't need no stinking clean sound around here. Here we go. So if I was playing over some jazzy stuff, like let's say we did D minor 7, G7, C major 7, A7. What I would do is, my default would be, I'd probably play, that's in C major, so I would probably play like A minor blues or something. So, and what I would work on is, I would go through and go, okay, cool. I'm going to try to land on the root note of each chord every time. So I'm looking for D, and I'm looking for G over the first two chords. I'm in drop C as well, so that's how I play G7 in this tuning, which looks super weird. Or you could do this. So, playing over that first change, so I go, and then that would be my two runs. I just target B, G, B, G, and the next time I do it, I go, okay, hitting the root notes is a little bit boring, and that's a big gap. So I'll try hit another note in that G chord. The G chord happens to contain a D, so I could go, I could do that, or I could hit another note in the G7 chord, maybe B, so I might go, do a little run like that. Or I might come up to this note from below and go, which is kind of cool, and then I might try target a different note in the D minor 7 chord, like hit that one, the minor third, and then this one, just go chromatically up. Something like that, and that hits. So using that kind of approach, if you want to play over jazzy stuff, is really, really helpful. There's a great book called Single Note Soloing for Jazz Guitar by Ted Green, which I would highly recommend. Also, his Modern Chord Voicings for Jazz Guitar is an incredible book, probably the best guitar book I own. All right, I need to catch up. Come up with a new riff. Should I come? Do you guys want to see how I write riffs? For tremolo picking, all right, we'll get to the riff. JCM 800 Studio Classic, haven't tried. Really want to get around to demoing it. Tremolo picking, massive chords. Yeah, building chords is so fun. Yeah, Vito, man, what an amazing player as well. Rosewood might be exempt from instruments in the near future. Ooh, I didn't know that. That's very handy if you're shipping guitars internationally. Thank you, Ron John. That means a lot. James has had a few lessons and they've been super cool. When you record with your AX8, do you keep your... I just tweak the AX8 so the interface isn't clipping, to be honest. There's no real science to it. If someone wants to... Yeah, so it's musicon.com.au. I'll write it in the chat once I finish chatting. Writing riffs. Let's write a riff. What guitar should I play and what sound? You guys are going to help me write a riff. So I'm going to grab my PRS, because that's the guitar that I write riffs on. And this will be fun. I'm going to open Pro Tools and I'm going to demo something. So there's the rest of that. This should be fun. And you guys can still obviously ask me questions. What I like to do is I'm going to get a disgusting, filthy guitar sound. This one's always fun to play with. What I normally do is just like play some chug-a-chug kind of stuff until I get something that I like. And I might think of a feel, like I heard that, what's that Bryan Adams song that has a kind of feel in it? I heard that on the radio the other day, and I really like the drum groove. So maybe like a shuffly kind of thing, like a... No, maybe not. That sounds a bit too much like a slow version of Rust. Can't Stop This Thing We Started. What a great song. Anytime that comes on, I'm just like, I'll be driving and I'm like, woohoo, yeah. Bryan Adams is a very, very good songwriter. I can't stand when I see things on the internet where people are like, Bryan Adams, lol. He's great. And I'll defend Bryan Adams' honor. Not that he needs defending. He's like probably a multi-millionaire. He doesn't give a shit. Super underrated. Great player, great singer, great songwriter. Yeah, he's got some cheese. Do a gallopy thing. All right, that'll be the... that kind of thing. I need a picking pattern. All right. Look, I'm going to open up a blank session. Let's go live stream song. So a gallopy thing, I think that's kind of cool. Maybe like a kind of Iron Maiden-y thing, but in drop C. I'll just get in tune, that always helps. So that dun 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 dun. Yeah, this is going to be fun. So always have a feel in mind, but slow. Okay. This is interesting. This is kind of like how my brain works. Like, do that, but like this. And a lot of the time, my defaults are, you know, obviously I'm in drop C, so I've got these, like the blues scale. I use Pro Tools, which is, yeah, it is what it is, good old Pro Tools. I'm on the subscription plan with it, so it means I don't have to worry about updating anything, but at the same time, you know, Avid have their intense quirks, so I totally understand why a lot of people dislike using Pro Tools. But one of those things, I've used it for so long, I'm so used to it. Please undo that. All right, what I normally do is my default for a session is, I'll show you guys this really quickly while I'm creating it. Where are we? Let's turn this around. How do I do that? Can I turn it around? Hopefully. There we go. I normally just create a session. I'm using Slate SSD 5 for drums, so create a stereo track with that, and then I have a dual mono pair of guitars that I pan hard left and right. So I normally double all my riffs, so, all right. I need to pan this one to the left and not have it plus 12. There we go. All right. One thing I might do, so we got that slow gallop. I'm gonna tap in the tempo, so like a dun 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 dun. I'm gonna create a really, so that's about 105, a really stock kind of drum beat. Nothing too crazy. The kit that I want, I have a stock demo kit here that I just load up, which has all the drum sounds that I like. Yeah, cool. Yeah, the Slate drums do sound really good. Their cymbals are okay, and I know a lot of people love Superior Drummer and reckon it's so much easier to use, but I don't work with pre-made grooves very often. I should, because the pre-made groove sounds so much better than the stuff I make, but I'm so used to programming stuff. Where are we? Where's my hi-hat? I need to count in. There we go. And let's not have a triplet feel for now, although we're going to have to. I just need to count in a 4. And we'll start with a crash on beat 1, because of course. Where's my kick drum? Probably. There we go. Got a kick. Excellent. That's what I want. Dun 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 dun. That's sort of the feel, isn't it? 1 and a 2 dun 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 dun. Whoa, whoa! I had the resolution totally wrong on that. My bad. Why is this so zoomed in? Yeah, that's not good. Bryan Adams' guitar player Keith Scott is so underrated. Yeah, man, definitely. Sweet Gallop, that's a cool name. He's Cliff Gallop's brother. Let's do 1. You guys, please ask me some questions I can answer while I program this incredibly boring groove. Dun, ka, dun, ka. So I normally just kind of mark everything out. 16th notes for the ride bell for that Slayer vibe. Oh yeah. There's a guy that I teach guitar. Massive metalhead, and most of the lesson we just sit there and I tell him go and write some riffs, and he comes in and he records them. And anytime it's like, oh, do you want to do a halftime thing, maybe with a 16th note bell? And we're both like, yes. I work with Roland VS 1880. What I need to replace cabinets because I can't in. Is the VS 1880 is that headphones or? So let's get 16ths with the ride. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is part of the fun of writing music. You can go, ooh, what if I do this? What if I do that? I don't have any Kramers, but I have a few Hamers. David, ordered an Axe FX 3. Awesome, man. I'm pretty. You're gonna like it. Ah, headphones. Ooh. I'll get that. So. All right, we need the 16ths on the. Ting 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 ting. Some Lombardo-isms. Let's try that. This is gonna be great. But I want the boom 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 kind of thing. So I'll add a few more kicks. Maybe boom 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 boom. Let's hear that. Yes. All right. That's the basic groove. I'm gonna increase all the velocities. Just cause, and I'm going to copy and paste it a bazillion times. What? 260 gigabytes to download Superior Drummer 3. Oof. How do you download that? I don't know. I would struggle with... I should show you guys how I'm going with this. Like, if you can't be stuffed programming drums, just use pre-made grooves. So I'll undo all of this where I copied it a bazillion times. Okay, so basically what I do is I would put the kicks and the snares in first, then I'd do the cymbals, then I'd add my extra sort of kicks. Yeah, to answer your question, the Mua Radar is really good as a cab emulator. Oh, cool. And who am I answering? 7-Star Trider 245. They're really nice guitars. So here's my little groove. And you can see I haven't gone through and find what I should do. I'll highlight all of them and I'll go to event operations, change velocity. I'm going to set all the velocities quite high, say to 95, but I'm going to randomize them and I'll set the random amount to like 17. And then that should give me a nice little bit of a change in feel. And it just kind of sounds a little bit more natural. Then I'd grab this and I just copy and paste it a lot. And then, if I go back to my main session, so I've got some drum happening, as you guys can see there. This is going to focus. Now I've got a drum groove. That's pretty mean. Let's track that. So I basically, yeah, just go through and smash out like 4 times through that. That'll do. Play some minor chords. Oh, I'll get some minor chords in there in the next part maybe. So I'd quickly double that in here because I love the way it sounds when you double it and you can hear the riff back and be like, oh, I made something. I got to assign these inputs properly. Rookie error. So yeah, and like, a lot of the time, it's really easy to overthink this stuff and be like, oh, like that, exactly. I was thinking it's kind of got a fast, bad, horsey vibe. Maybe I shouldn't do it. But I just find, if you have an idea, just record it. Even if it's just a riff, put it down, and then you can sit back and you can listen to it. So I'll do that. And sometimes you do things like that where it's like, oh, I'll play a few more chords and get something I might not hate. So let's do the double. Something like that. And while I was doing that, yeah, it's a bad horsey wire on the Axe Effects. I can add a wah. There is a Morley in there. So I'll just do this. So let's have a listen to the riff. So while I was doing that, I thought it might be cool to have like so like a something like that, maybe every second time to break it up. So what I might do is I'll drop that in. I might just record it again. That's not how you play the riff. Change to a harmonic minor after the main riff. Yeah, cool. Okay, I like that a lot more because there's a variation at the end. And I'll just double that really quickly and then I just go through and maybe copy and paste it because I'm trying to be in writing mode, not playing mode. There we go, and I can now grab this and copy it, the beauty of using a DAW, and let's just hear that. That's kind of a cool little variation. Okay, then what I'd do is I'd go through and hear that little bit down. I'd change the programming on the drums to catch that. So, maybe get some kind of cymbal, like a... Yeah, there we go. We'll get a China cymbal in there. So we'll go. like some kind of tom, maybe. And it'll do this. I don't know, something basic like that will do the trick nicely, I think, and then I'd copy that drum pattern over. So, here's the riff. Oh, yeah. I like those chords after that, actually. Now, what I would do in this situation, I'm going to play bass really quickly on this. So I'll create a mono bass track, and I've got my UAD set up as the main interface at the moment. So where's my bass? Here's my bass. What I'm going to do is tune my bass, because who knows what tuning this thing is in at the moment. I want C, if I can get it. Yeah, C, yeah, that's it. Probably don't have to play anything on the high strings, so I'm in luck. Ooh, that's out of tune. So yeah, what I would do with the bass, I'll show you guys a Pro Tools session in a second, and then I'll overdub some pinch harmonics on this because that's part of the fun. There we go. And I'm just going to play bass on this really quickly. That sucked. There we go. That's what I want. That's what I want. 2, 3, 4. Gosh darn it. And I'm super lazy, so I'm going to copy and paste that. And then in the next section, I'll just quickly play over that. Put my pre-roll on. Something like that. Now it sounds like music, I think. Something resembling music. I think for these chords here, I would like to change the drum groove up, something a little less Slayer beat. That would be hilarious if he was watching. So I'll change this and go to like a hi-hat pattern. Just something big and open and kind of groovy. So like a boom, 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 something like 7 dusty. So I'll show you a little thing I like to do in Pro Tools. Often I could never decide between. Sorry, that looks like crap. Do you end up tuning drums to the key of the track? No, but I was watching a thing with Eric Valentine where he does, and Eric Valentine's amazing. So maybe I should. So if you put in 8th note hats, sounds a bit lame. But if you put in quarter note hats, it's not quite the same. So what I do is I actually stole this from watching Cam play, where he would ghost the 8th note. So I'd go through and I'm going to turn all these velocities up. But then I would go through, and on the weak beats, I would turn those right down on the hi-hats. So I'll do that. I'm going to move a few little kick drums around to give it a bit more groove. And I'm going to bring these velocities right down. I'll show you guys what I mean. It'd be great if I had screen sharing set up. So see those ones there, I've turned them right down. So you get this. Have a listen. It just gives you like a little bit more air. Then I'm going to move this kick drum, this one, forward a 16th. So that we get this kind of thing happening. Have a listen. Yeah, I like that. That's given it a bit of a push. And maybe like a couple of hits here. Some kind of cymbal. Yeah, alright, now we got a groove. Alright, that's a little bit better, and it'll do for now, because no matter what I program, it's going to suck compared to if this ever became a song to what Cam plays. Alright, cool. Now is the fun part, so I can play some guitar. So... That's pretty cool. A lot of the time writing melodies as well is easy to overthink it. Most of the time it's like, alright, I know it's in a minor key. Those notes will probably work. It does have a bit of a George Lynch vibe. I should catch up with what's going on. Yeah, programming drums, not my favorite part about being alive. Let's see. Let's see. Name of the song, no idea yet. Okay, cool. So maybe I go through and just overdub some guitar stuff that might become a melody. I don't know. I like that. So I'll do that because that sounds cool. Make sure I got the right track enabled. And yeah, let's just put that down, shall we? What did I play from the... You just played Only My Dreams from the... Oh, well, there we go. This is a good thing, because I would finish this and one of the other guys would be like, hey, that's a chorus song. Cool. Well, this is what heavy metal chorus sounds like. This is great. That actually makes me enjoy this so much more, by the way, knowing that it's the chorus. Yeah, and honestly, that's a thing. Maybe. What I'll do is I'll copy all of this. That whole like Slayer beat thing, when it comes back in, I might change to more of like that groove that we had, because I kind of like that a little bit more. Like having the main riff do this. Another thing I would do is like just put that main riff on and just loop it. Have our melodic theme. Whatever that is. Something like that. So that would be like the genesis of an idea. Actually, I actually don't mind that. This is going to get saved. Then what I would do, actually I should record, I'm going to record that lead part again. And then I'm going to record it with a wah. And then I'm going to play the harmony over it because I really like the way that harmony sounds with it. Okay, let's create a new track and put the harmony on that. What do I want? I want an audio track, I certainly do. I got my phone in front of the screen, that's why I'm doing this. I realize I look like an absolute nutcase. And then we'll just put the harmony on top. Yeah, this is what we do. Whoops. The next thing I'll do, I'll go back and just tighten up that rhythm guitar part under this because I played it a little bit sloppy. So we'll go back and do that. I think it's just cool as open chords, not necessarily as... Just that, that'll do. And I'll go back and double that. Again, looking around my screen like a maniac. Let's do that guy. Oh, why did I not... What's going on here? What have I done? Let's do that again. think I'm okay with that. That'll do. Oh, I'll do it one more time. I didn't quite play it the way I wanted to. Yeah, that'll do me fine. I'll just double that. And then I'm going to copy that over to the other side. And I'm pretty much done. Let's have a listen to the whole thing. So yeah, these chords, that's a D minor, right? Or in this case, it actually sounds like C. And if you don't play it as a bar, so you get the open G and the open E. That's what we got going on there. So let's hear this track. I'll save it. That's very important in Pro Tools, as we all know. So while I was doing that, I kind of heard this. So maybe something like that. Yes. So ba da da ba da 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 da. I'm gonna have to record that now. Let's do that. Did I watch Steve Vai on Tone Talk? I haven't seen that one, but I really enjoy Tone Talk. It's a great show. Yeah, good format. Okay, need the wah on for this too. So. Look at Pro Tools being Pro Tools. I don't mind that. There's kind of like there's a sixth in there. The Dorian note. And then I will play the harmony. So to be... Okay. Gosh darn it, how good is Pro Tools? Last note at the end, I'm not super sold on it, but it'll do for now. All right, so there you go. That's something resembling Dimot Sherry. That okay was rude. Oh man. All right, what do we got here? Sounds like music, maybe. Yeah, and I mean, the beauty of this is now I've got those down, I can play with the arrangement. Yeah, one of the reasons I really like this guitar is because all those complex chords sound good. John, Leon, can you update Pro Tools 9 to the latest version? Is it worth doing? I'm sure you can. They're up to like Pro Tools 2018 or 2019. You know, they just stopped using numbers. It's the year now. But you can do the subscription thing. Yeah, there's a bit of lynch mob about this. Hyperbole Kid. That's a good name. Yeah, no reason why you can't. If 9 is working fine for you and you're not, you know, you just want to record guitar demos, then just stick with 9. You know, it's fine. Or I know a lot of people love Reaper as well. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but for doing those kind of things. Do you ever record with the ADA? Yes, there's a track on the last Ragdoll album that we did with the MP1, and it's the song called Letting Go, which I'll play for you guys. And we tried a bunch of different amps, and it was like, you know what, this kind of has a little bit of an 80s metal vibe, so we'll use the ADA MP1, and it sounded great. I think we used it with, so this song. Anyway, that's ADA MP1. What kind of sound card is the best for that kind of thing? If you've got an Axe Effects, it's a sound card. I'm using a UAD Apollo Twin for my interface. Yeah, the ADA cuts like a knife. It's really cool for that kind of thing. For Mac, yeah, I'm honestly, my next question for you is what's your budget with that kind of stuff? Because it depends what you want to do. There's so many options going on. The Focusrite stuff, if you're on a budget, is excellent, and I would highly recommend it. I was using a Scarlett before I got my UAD, and the UAD is great. I mean, obviously I do a lot of, when I'm in here recording, it's great because it's got mic pre's. So if I want to demo vocals and stuff like that, I can do that. And then for doing tutorial stuff, it's excellent because I run the Axe Effects via SPDIF into the Apollo. So it's like digital out of the Axe, digital in. There's takes a stage of digital conversion out, but then I can also record stuff with my voice. Am I using a plugin just now? I'm using the Axe Effects just now. Yeah, for all this kind of stuff. I much prefer just printing the sounds that I've got. And if I was, you know, I'm not doing it because it's a demo, but I would, if I was like tracking serious guitars for a recording, I would also take a USB out. I'll probably do it over USB through the Fractal. That way I can record my DI as well. And if I want to reamp it later, I can. Fractal bad move. Changing the AX8 for the FM3. I don't think it's a bad move. It's a different set of, it's like totally different firmware. My understanding is that the person who was responsible for a lot of for taking the Axe Effects 2 code and porting it to the AX8 left, and it was just one of those things where I think they probably got to the stage where it's like, okay, rather than have one set of like modeling and firmware for one device and another that's relying on a particular person, they've moved everything over to that Aries architecture. And then that way it's like, if you get a firmware update on the Axe Effects 3, all they have to do is copy the file over to the FM3, rather than have to rewrite the code to work on the AX8. Yeah, so I think that's kind of a good move, and it's a little bit cheaper than the AX8 was, and it's smaller. And then if you want the extra foot switches, you can either get an FC foot switch, and then you've got the AX8 successor, or if you don't want to spend that much money, you could get like a, you know, who does the little foot switches that everybody raves about? Not Disaster Area, the other mob. They're really good. Morningstar. You could get like a Morningstar MC6. It's tiny, and you could add 6 extra foot switches to it. So I think the modular approach is really cool. Obviously, it means you have to connect a few more things. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure once it comes out and everybody's like, oh my god, it's so amazing, they'll stop complaining about it. But yeah, I think it's, from playing one, I really like the form factor of 3 foot switches, which isn't a lot, but you can expand it pretty easily. Do you use any amp sims on the UAD? The only ones I've got on here, I've done a few demos with them because, you know, you can demo stuff on the UAD. Let me remind myself what's in here. Guitar and bass. The one that I thought sounded really good was the Engel Savage. That sounds really good. And the Sir SE 100 sound good. It's just at the level for me where it's like, it's really tempting to go and buy them, but I also so don't need them. So I try to be like, you know what? I'll spend $150 on something else, like coffee. The Diesel Herbert sounded good. So yeah, like I think the UAD, I really like the way it works. The fact that you have to buy the plugins is a bit of a schlep, but I like that you can track in unison mode. That's kind of cool. So if if it was like, oh, I've only got a certain budget and I want to get some guitar amp sims and I want to get an interface, the Apollo Twin's really good because it's small. The amp sims sound really good. You can track essentially latency free. Yeah, I like the UAD stuff. I think they're great. Singular Sound's about to release the MIDI Maestro. Ooh, is that online? Singular Sound MIDI Maestro. I haven't seen this. Tech 21. Ryan's been using a Tech 21 SansAmp like forever. That's one of my favorite pieces of gear, and I often use a SansAmp plugin for bass. Wow, that looks pretty cool. Awesome. Oh wow, it's got scribble strips. Wow, this is awesome. That looks really good. Yeah, Tech 21 are awesome. I'm just going to move my thing so I can see the screen. $249 and whoa, that's cool. With predefined in-app commands and free shipping, it's telling me I'm. Oh wow, this is really good. Oh wow, I sound like Owen Wilson. So it's got scribble strips. It's got those bit. Yeah, that looks really, really good for that price as well. There's another company, I have one of their controllers called DJ Devices. Funny name, I know. But they do something called the TB5 and the TB12, and they're really good MIDI controllers as well. Wow. Included presets. That looks sick. Yeah, so that's another good option as well. And for an extra $249, if you got that with an FM3, it would be what, like $12.49, which is about what an AX8 retailed for, and you'd have basically the same number of switches, but you'd have scribble strips, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, very interesting. Didn't know about that. I need to keep an eye on those guys. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. So yeah, that's how I try to make music, and then I compile all of my demo ideas into like just a playlist so I can listen to them whenever I want. What is the advantage of using the preamp versus just going direct via USB? You mean the UAD preamp? I'm guessing. For drop C, 10 to 52 on this guitar. It's just enough. I want to try drip C. Believe me, sometimes it feels like drip C. And a SansAmp original rack from '93. They were a pretty cool. Oh, so the interface. The whole thing with like getting a microphone into your workstation is the mic preamp, because dynamic microphones and ribbon microphones basically have almost no gain, so you need to really crank the gain up. And then, you know, good microphone preamps have a good signal to noise ratio, so if you've got a good mic preamp with a, you know, good dynamic mic, I like this one for doing all my voice stuff. It's awesome. SM7B. Then you're going to get the requisite amount of gain. You can just plug a microphone, say, into the Axe Effects, and turn it up internally. But the signal to noise ratio is not going to be as good. So having a dedicated microphone preamp is really, really handy. Oh, if you got a Neve console, like, by all means, you would use the Neve every day. What's a good practice routine and a minimum amount of time per day? It depends. Like, I would change it up every day. If you guys have seen if you've seen Pumping Iron, you know, where with Arnie and what's his name, Tim Katz and Lou Ferrigno, you know how Arnie talks about like you got to shock the muscle. I think you got to like shock your fingers sometimes. So for today, like I actually haven't been playing the last 3 or 4 days. I haven't played any like shreddy stuff, or I haven't been playing riffs. I've been playing like clean ambient stuff. Like I've been sitting here programming chorus effects from my old Rocktron units, like that kind of stuff. So firing up the riffs today has been fun. You know, it's felt fresh. So yeah, that's kind of today will be distorted guitars and drop tuning. Drip C can be cured just 1 pill a day. Hey, do you know a guy who can cure me of my drip C? What was I going to say? Yeah, so do you sometimes wish there were more options of rack tube preamps? You know, I kind of do, but at the same time, we're in like post preamp world where something like the Axe Effects, I can go, okay, what classic rack preamp do I want to try? Do I want to try a tri-axis? I can dial up a tri-axis. Do I want to try a JMP1? I can dial it up. I would love to just take all my rack preamps, put them in a box, and send them to Cliff at Fractal Audio and just say, here you go, just keep them and model them. I don't care if I ever get them back, but if you put models of them in the Axe Effects, that's worth the cost. And that would be so, so awesome to have an 80A MP1 and a Rockmaster and stuff like that added in there. Do I have a day job? And if so, what is it? I teach guitar. I do a day at a school near here, and pretty much every afternoon and evening I teach privately from here. So, and I do online Skype stuff, and I freelance and do gigs, and it's one of those things where, yeah, essentially it's like freelance musician means I'll take anything I can get at the moment. So, but yeah, the teaching thing, I love teaching guitar. I've got some amazing students as well, which makes it really good. And yeah, that's kind of calling it a job is a long stretch. You don't sell your body to get all those guitars. Sometimes I feel like I sell my body when I'm doing like a gig where I have to do this all night. Like, but I'll do it because I'm playing guitar, you know? Freelance. Exactly. What did Lance ever do? Yeah, this PRS is sick, man. So yeah, tube preamps. I think now because the digital modeling stuff is so good, it's a hard sell with the tube preamps. But, man, an updated tri-axis that could do all the Mark V stuff and the rectifier stuff and the TC50 stuff and like the Electrodyne and the Lone Star. Imagine just a new tri-axis that's like the size of an Axe Effects, and I can do all the Messer amp models, but it's also got power amp simulation and IR loading in it. That would be killer. Messer, call me. So having actual preamps, do you think the Axe Effect sounds as good? Yes. It sounds better in some cases because some of my old preamps are very noisy. And this thing's absolutely dead quiet. I've compared the JMP1 model to my real JMP1, and it sounds exactly the same, just without the noise. The tri-axis sounds so close. I mentioned to Cliff when I met him in Axefest, I was like, because of the Axe Effects, I bought a tri-axis because I like the way the Mark Series models sound. And he mentioned that he has 2 tri-axis racks, and that's what he used to gig with before the Axe Effects, and he loves them, and they sound so bang on. It's really, really scary. Really scary. The stiletto stuff would be sick. Do I like Engel amps? Yes. I would love to have an Engel Savage here. I mean, again, totally don't need it. And I've come this close to buying one of their what is it, the 5.7 or the 3.7 570 preamp, whatever that like the angle preamp is. They've popped up a couple of times really cheap, and I've been beaten to the punch. So I'd love to try one of their preamps, especially. Drip C won't live that down. Nah, it's all good, mate. We'll my Polytune do it though. Yeah, the Polytune should do Drop C. Why do you still own amps? Because they smell good. I'm in an amp sort of smelling aroma. No, honest answer. I still really like my amps, and there are some things, especially if I'm recording, or if I'm doing a session and someone says they want to use real amps, it's really handy to have. It's if you're going to be a person who makes their who sells their body, sometimes you got to have all the options. So that's why I keep the real amps, and they're handy for doing demos as well. Because as good as the Axe FX takes pedals, sometimes people really want to hear pedals demoed through real amps, so you got to have the real amps around. How do you do feedback on stage with the Axe FX? You got to have volume. So my latest thing is like I love using in-ears, but if we're doing a gig where we have the option of having in-ears and some sound coming out of the monitors, we'll have some sound coming out of the monitors, and I'll try to use that for some feedback. But a lot of the time, I just use lots of delay and lots of gain, and that's kind of enough. GT, hey, thanks, man. Everybody who's been commenting saying my new intro looks so amazing, thank the man GT right there. He did such a good job. I literally spent 3 minutes just filming some of my gear, and I sent him a few clips, and he came up with that intro, and I love the way it looks. So you're an absolute legend, man. And go and subscribe to his YouTube channel, because the Tone Quest videos are sick. When's your next Tone Quest video coming out, GT? What lick or riff written by yourself is your favorite one ever? Ooh, and yeah, that's, as John said, different amps have different personalities. That's why you keep them around. Like photos of your ex-girlfriend, right? That's in incredibly poor taste. I apologize about that. Favorite riff? I really like Rust. That's a fun one to play. And favorite lick? Oh man. New video coming out today. Awesome. I'll share that, man. That's really cool. Where are the top chats at, guys? Let's see some Leon love so he doesn't have to sell his body. I don't think I can do that on my channel yet. I probably don't have enough subscribers. So if you want to make sure I don't sell my body, you can go to my Teespring store and buy a Ragdoll t-shirt, or you can purchase our music on Bandcamp. Or my email address is on there. You could just send me stuff. Ted Nugent Stranglehold. Oh, hey, you know who's a really underrated singer is, what's his name? Ted Nugent singer, not David St. Hubbins, that's the guy from Spinal Tap. Derek St. Holmes, love him. I reckon you may have got in there first, John. Russ is awesome. I like playing, yeah, Derek St. Holmes. What a voice, Jesus. Rewind Your Mind's a fun one. That's so What do you think of KSM 313 impulse responses? I love them. Thank you for asking that question. Justin York, the York Audio IRs has some, and he was raving about that microphone, and I totally agree. And I would really like to get a KSM 313. They're just expensive. It's like, should I get that? What about the singer from Ra? Oh, yeah. What happened to that band? Because I remember reading about them in like Guitar World back in the day, how they were like, yeah, we want to be like Christina Aguilera with a 7-string. So that's kind of cool. Oh man, any 80s riff is going to be cool. Into the Void's great. Yeah. So the 313 to me is like a slightly thicker sounding Royer. Have you tried the Victory Super Kraken? I've only tried the Kraken. How close are the atomic amps to the real thing? Pretty close. Pretty close, yeah. I haven't A-B'd them with real amps, but the thing with the atomic stuff, and this is kind of, you can see it as a good thing or you can see it as a bad thing. They're kind of like idealized versions of a lot of amps. The 5150, for example, is so much easier to dial in than a real 5150. You can basically put all the knobs on 7 and it's the sickest high gain sound ever. Whereas a real 5150 doesn't necessarily do that. So the atomic stuff sounds great, but I don't know how necessarily accurate it is. And they're like knob tapers on some of them aren't exactly like the real amp, but you know, who cares? It sounds good. I find the Fractal stuff's like scarily accurate. You put the knobs in the same place and like A-B it with a JTM45 or an 800 or something. It's like, I can't tell what the difference is. So, yeah. You have a guitar with blackouts? I don't know. Who has influenced you the most as a guitar player? That's a pretty good question. Because growing up, I loved Gary Moore and Scott Gorham and Thin Lizzy and Stevie Ray Vaughan and all the kind of bluesy stuff. And then I obviously got into Steve Vai and Paul Gilbert and Vinnie Moore. I was actually just watching Vinnie Moore's Hot Licks video recently because that was one of the first ones I ever had. Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to say now who the biggest influence is because there's so many. But I would probably say Ty Tabor is probably the guitar player. If you took Ty Tabor and you took Paul Gilbert, they're probably the two that, if you listen to those and imagine where they intersect somewhere, then that's where I live. 31, Michael. Vinnie Moore is such a clean player, it's scary. The EHX Triangle Muff. I want to try one of those. I've got some nice fuzzers kicking around, but I don't have a muff. Do I ever use Kempers? One of my friends has one, so I've done some demos with it, and I got a couple of demo videos up with the Kemper. That there's a local music store here. Shout out to my friends at Mega Music because they've lent me a lot of gear to demo. And yeah, the Kemper's a great unit. You know, it does what it does so well, and if you can't get a good sound out of that thing, I don't know what you're doing. Like the Atomic and like the Helix, and for what I do, the Fractal stuff still, like I've said before, hands down, it's my favorite thing. Because not only does it sound really good, it's a really great creative tool for me. But having said that, if you find the Kemper an incredibly inspiring thing, or the Helix an incredibly inspiring thing, the fact that it's inspiring is the point, you know? As Frank Zappa said, Sykes, my man. Blackmore, Schenker, EVH, Rhodes, you guys are totally speaking my language. I listened to the Tribute live album so much as a kid. When my mum would drive me to school, it was like a 15-minute drive, and I had a Walkman, and I had Thin Lizzy Live and Dangerous, and I had Ozzy Osbourne Tribute. That's cool. I'll have to... Man, there's so many pickups I want to try. I need a guitar that can just load whatever pickup. These are the stock pickups in here, the SC245 pickups, and I think they sound awesome. I'm never going to change these. Man, Live and Dangerous, just go home, everybody else. They basically re-recorded the whole thing in the studio, I know, but sleep time. All right, see you later, Phil. Don't believe a word, I reckon. Yeah, live albums from the 70s. Live and Dangerous, Strangers in the Night, UFO. Wow. Am I into playing synths? Yeah, I like playing synths. I've got a little, I've got the Arturia Suite sitting here, so... And the Pigment synth is really cool. I'm going to close this Pro Tools session where we did that demo. And I'm going to try add that demo to like... I'll do that in a video at some point. Take one guitar, one amp, and 5 pedals. What are they? Ooh, I reckon if you sent me to a desert island with that guitar and a tri-axis with a matching power amp and an Eventide H9, I would be very happy. I wouldn't need the 5 pedals. Or just send me to a desert island with an Axe-Fx and my Atom Studio monitors, and I'd be very, very happy. So no pedals required there. That's kind of cheating with the question, isn't it? Let's try. So there's this Pigments plugin, which I love. How do I need audio MIDI setup, output channels. There we go. Let's talk about synthesis, children. I kind of, my dad had a Roland JV30 when I was growing up, and I figured out how to play keyboards from that. Like, I've never had a keyboard lesson in my life. It's just total, like, this little M audio controller. That's cool. Play jump. Can't even play jump. That's how much I suck. Gary Moore, MSG, George Lynch, Warren DeMartini, John Sykes, EVH, Doug Aldrich, Psychoax. We understand one another. We're speaking the same language. So this Pigments plugin's really cool because it's like a mix of a wavetable and an analog synth. I had a few favorites in here. This one's really cool. There's Pad. And because there's not many keys on here, I do this, like, I'll hit a low note and then hit the octave button. That's pretty cool. What else is sick? Thanks to my buddy Troy Nababan for getting me onto the Arturia stuff because it's awesome. Vangelis lead, that'll be fun. That's not Vangelis lead. Here we go. Oh, that's Blade Runner right there, man. That's kind of cool. Do picks matter? As to me, I think it matters. What matters about picks is that you feel comfortable with them. And if you feel comfortable with your pick, then you're going to play well. How do you used to gig with before the Axe effects? So I used to use. We were doing like a ragdoll only show. I'd use my rectifier. Get this for a rig. Dual rectifier dry. And then a Marshall DSL 50 for the wet sound. So the DSL would have an Eventide H9 in the effects loop for delay and time-based effects. And then I had a pedal board with a MIDI switcher, and I had a tuner, a wah, I had my Anarchy audio like clon style boost, and that was in front of the amp. And I had a fuzz swollen pickle as well for some sounds. They were all in individual loops. And I had it programmed as presets, so it would switch all this stuff. And I think I had like 4 or 5, essentially like scenes. And I would set up, so I had the dual recto, both amps would get the boost. In front, it would be split with a Y cable after the boost, and then the DSL had the wet signal. And yeah, that was a pretty crazy rig. So, and I'd have 2 cabinets. I used to run a 1x12 for the wet signal and a 4x12 that I'd put in its side for the dry signal. It sounded great. It had so much thud and thump. And yeah, it was just so much gear to cart around. Or if I was doing a cover gig, I'd just take I used to use a Dark Terror for those gigs with an H9. But you tried some film scores or some Vangelis. Oh, yeah, man. So it's kind of funny. This Pigments plugin's really cool. There's Arturia have a DX7 plugin, which is just, where is it? The sound of the 80s. And there's like there's a Blade Runner style patch in there that I spend a lot of time. Greetings from yesterday. Greetings from tomorrow. Yeah, actually. Hey, Tyler, man, how are you? I was thinking about you the other day. I was actually talking about you to somebody because a buddy of mine, I was getting them into Alice in Chains, and we were talking about Lane's voice, and then I told him to check out your videos because you do the Lane Staley thing really well. I think I need to do a video on them bones because I totally don't know how to play that properly. So yeah, here's the Blade Runner patch in the DX7 plugin. This is sick. So yeah, I spent a lot of time just doing that. It's actually a bit of a bastardization. It's actually an Ibanez 12 string that's had the headstock modified to look like a Gibson. Synth pedal you can use to solo over. What I did a long time ago, I had a set of Roland MIDI bass pedals, the PK5A, and I had a rack mount synth, and I used to play the pedals with my feet, Geddy Lee style, and solo over them. Will plugins eventually take over the gig world? PC processors? That's an interesting question, because I know if you look at the way something like, yeah, it's a Fibson, believe me. If you look at something like Ableton and the way people integrate Ableton into live performance, we're kind of getting there with plugins. If you've seen, whatever you think about Ed Sheeran, his live rig is unbelievable. He's got this whole rack, and it's basically just computers running Ableton and running plugins for all this stuff. It's really, really interesting. So he can trigger live loops, and he can do all that kind of stuff. And I'm a really big fan of Imogen Heap. Amazing, amazing artist. And she has these MIDI gloves, so she can control Ableton with these MIDI gestures. And there's a video of her doing it. So she's like, yeah, I might sing a line, and then I'll freeze it, and then I'll pan it around in stereo. Just go and watch this video with Imogen Heap and her MIDI gloves. It's like, it's a mind-blowing thing. It's really, really amazing. Or you can do this and create a loop. And so in terms of like using live looping and stuff, I think Ableton's, you can do some amazing stuff with that. And I see no reason why. I mean, if you can use something like, and obviously the Axe FX is using something like DSP, but if CPUs get powerful enough, there's no reason. And I'm sure there's people already gigging with plugins. Guitar players, I think it's funny, like as guitar players, we're kind of unique in the sense that not a lot of other instrumentalists are as finicky about their tone as guitar players are. Like, you often see bass players rock up to a session with a bass, and they're like, oh, just plug it in DI, it'll sound fine, and then they'll play, and they'll change a lot with their playing dynamics. But often as guitar players, we know the sound we want. And it's like, all right, I'm listening to this track and it's a funk R&B thing. I know it's going to be strat, middle and neck pickup, compressor, like there's those kind of things. And yeah, it's got to feel a certain way. And I'm sure a lot of the time producers are just like, dude, it sounds fine. Just shut the hell up and play. DSPs will get powerful enough. Hardware is cheap. Yes, guitar players are way too picky, me included. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like there's the artistic side of it, and there's a performance side of it, and sometimes they're really, really close, and sometimes they're a little bit hard to separate. And having that feel and that response, that's why I love the Axe FX, because it feels like an amp, and it sounds like an amp. So to me, it doesn't, it's an amp. Like, it's at that level for me where I'm like, I'm happy with the way it works and the way it responds for what I like, where I don't miss amps. Because that's got to be the standard. Tube amps sound and feel incredible, and they're inspiring. So if they're not going to be that good, I'm not going to use it. But I'm lucky to be alive at a time where I think they're that good and they sound that good. So I can use that, a 3-rack unit thing, take it to a gig, and I'm ready to rock, and I don't have to think about it. The little keyboard, man, I don't know. These are like probably not even made anymore. You can get smaller ones for like $150. And then the plugin suite is a couple of $100 probably. Imogen is incredible, by far my favorite female artist. Yeah, for me, Imogen, obviously Björk. I've been listening to a lot of Björk recently. Just phenomenal. And there is an artist from, I can't remember if she's Danish or Swedish or from Iceland, called Suzanne Sundfør. Well, I love her stuff. A lot of this like loop-based synthesizer female stuff. There's a guy called Asgear as well, who's excellent, and a girl from New Zealand called Aldous Harding, who does some really amazing stuff as well. I listen to a lot of that stuff. Who's being sued for $100 million? Ed. Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ. So basically with digital guitar, tone doesn't matter, only the way guitar feels. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, like, the guitar has to sound good, but it also has to feel good for the player. Like, I think digital stuff has sounded good for a long time. An audience certainly wouldn't know the difference, but, you know, if you compare an Axe Effects to a pod, there's a fairly big difference in the way they respond and feel. Imagine when it feels that good in real life. Sex Effects. We're going there, man. It's, you know, it's where the world's headed. Lucky to have hair. Yep, I am. Believe me. Best intermediate amp. I have a small, probably the Boss Katana would be my vote. Because if you like the Cube, the Katanas, yeah. Honestly, they're pretty amazing what Boss are doing. I haven't tried a Next Tone, but maybe one of those as well. Do you have children? No. No kids. My wife has a child, me. That's, oh yeah, the Nolly archetype thing. Whew. I haven't been doing a lot of plugin demos recently, and I've been thinking about it, and it's kind of like, that's just sort of the way it's panned out, but there's just so many good plugins out at the moment where it's like, man, I could literally just do a month of plugin demos, but I'll have to try the Nolly one, because neural stuff sounds really good. Hair effects, yeah, that's what we want. That's what we want. This coffee has served me really well today. I'm only just getting to the end of it. It's cold, but it's really good. Is this still on? Blade Runner. There's a really great Blade Runner preset that Matt Picone made for the Axe Effects. Check this out if you want to hear something wild. It's amazing. That's pretty amazing. Alrighty, where are we at in the chat? Yeah, I spent a lot of time in that. Burova DSL 40, yeah, the Axe Effects compressors. Not yet, but that one's in the pipeline. I just shot a video with the wah block because a few people have been asking about that. And I actually learnt a whole bunch of new things about how to dial in the wah block while I was doing it. So that's been cool. It's up my game. So compressors are definitely in line. Looks like you have an excellent connection with Fractal. Do they ever consult you for suggestions? One nice thing about Fractal is if you go to the forum, there's a wish list section of the forum, and basically they read all the wish list items, and a lot of those have been implemented. There was a thing I was trying to do with the multi-band compressor a while ago, which it wouldn't let me do. So it was like, all right, cool, I'll go to the wish list and ask for this feature to be added, and the next firmware dropped and it had it, which was awesome. And I think like a graphic EQ in the drive pedals and in the wah block was requested, and there's been some other people who have had some really useful suggestions that have been implemented. Yeah, so that's the great thing about that company, is like they actually listen to their customers. And from what I understand as well, other companies like Line 6 do a similar thing. You can submit suggestions for functionality, but the Fractal stuff, the way they do that is really cool. Really cool. And they release beta firmware, or beta firmware, I know you guys love to hear that, pretty regularly. So you kind of, everyone who owns an Axe Effects can be a beta tester, which is kind of fun. It's fun to be involved in that process. And sometimes you load the firmware up and, you know, there might be a bug that you notice and you can report it, and then they fix it in the full release. So that's one of the things I like about the Axe Effects, is that community aspect. I'm just going to, I think it's blowing a gale outside, so. All right, and we're back. What was I saying? Yeah, so you can, I mean, you can create your own multi-textural synth patches in there. Do I play instruments other than guitar? Well, you guys saw me try to play bass and try to play keyboards in this video, and that's about as good as I am. Can you still play live well if you don't have your monitor tone dialed in that well. Believe me, I've done I think the majority of my gigs that I've done in my life, the sound coming out of the monitors has sucked. So I've kind of got to a stage where, and this is one of those things, right, where it's like you spend all this time dialing in nice tones and stuff like that. Do I have your permission to add you to a cringe compilation? Well, pretty much everything I do is cringe, so go for it. I will become the cringe master, no doubt. And it's no different from my home life because my wife's always cringing at all the dumb shit that I do and say. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, live. Most of the time, live sucks. That's why we moved over to in-ears because at least it is consistent. Do you have to change EQ settings at the gig? Yeah, there's a performance screen on the Axe FX3 now where I have all the important knobs that I need to twist, and I just say to the sound guy, like, is there too much or too little of something? And they might say, it's a bit bright or it's not bright enough or something like that. So you just kind of, you work with them. And please link me to that cringe compilation. I'll look forward to it. Does the atomic stuff feel like a reconnecting? It feels pretty good. I don't think it feels as good, like I said, but it feels pretty sick to play. There's a lot of little things that when you play, like, just because I spend so much time playing with modelers and playing with real amps that you notice. And like I said, they're kind of idealized amps. I think they're really good. The GT1000 feels pretty good. I like that. Anytime I've played the Helix, that feels pretty good. They're all, Kemper feels good. They're all, it's all like enough these days, I think. Where are we at? Fractal MIDI gloves. What would be good would be if I could have like a fractal mask so that when I play guitar and I do all that. Actually, what I really want is I want a piercing, maybe not a piercing, maybe like a thing that you can stick to your lip, maybe fractal lipstick, so that when I'm sitting there playing guitar, moving my mouth around, that it will do the wah for me. That would be an amazing thing. Have you heard any more Dr. Sin? I did. I had a little listen to him. And yeah, that song that you linked definitely sounds a lot more like Rush than the songs I was listening to on the live stream. Fractal Talkbox. Do you have a guitar with EMG 85? No, I don't. I don't have any EMGs. And I really should because lots of people use and love EMGs. Maybe I'll try find a set and slap them in a guitar. Where are we at? What type of power speakers do I connect my Axe FX to? Here in the studio, I've got Adam A7Xs, and live we use in-ears, so I just plug straight into the board. Where am I at? Welcome, Don. Hope it's nice and sunny in Germany in summer. Favorite P90 pickups? Ooh, my buddy Martin A. Smith here in Australia makes some pretty mean P90s that I've heard. Favorite riff that I've made. I talked about that a little earlier. But I'll play some more riffs. Why not? Oh, we'll play riffs any day of the week. What did I say? Rust? That. Or maybe Rewind Your Mind. They're probably my two favorites, I think. Sound like you've been playing guitar for 5 months. Seriously. Or should we roast this smartass in here? I'm gonna look this guy's profile up because this is what I love to do. I probably sound like I've been playing guitar for 4 months. 5 months is very generous. All right. Seriously, trash. Oh, my feelings are so hurt. Oh. Can I watch my live stream and have it not stuff up what we're doing? Yeah, I really shouldn't give people like this the time of day, should I? Let's see. it's always interesting. It's just always interesting to see people with 4 subscribers and no content. Where did you hear about my channel? I'm really curious. Like, is this just, it just pops up? Your hat looks hurt too. It is. Well, that's okay. Let's see. Have a nice day, mate. How do I do this? Yeah. That can get reported. See ya. Great. Yeah. Boom. That's fine. That's fine. You can be an idiot on the internet. I mean, that's really easy. But, you guys don't care about that, do you? Never heard of you or your band. Your live stream just popped up randomly. Well, hello, Ashton Thomas. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're having a good day. And yeah, that's kind of cool. If you have any questions about what I do, well, you can check out the channel and you can check out the music. And trolling trolls is a sport. Yeah. Man, it's really funny when people... Oh, Tyler has a question. I haven't tried the new Friedman because they're really, really hard to get here. And like ridiculously expensive, but I would really like to try one. Maybe the next time I go back to the States. With the troll thing, it's been really funny because there was that video with that guy who I won't mention that, you know, did the really long review of the Axe Effects, which has been taken down. Which I didn't watch, and I encourage people not to watch because I've seen the other video he did, and he's clearly got an axe to grind. That's funny. And I think the video's been taken down. Michael Nielsen does a lot of the Friedman demos, and that guy pulls, in my opinion, some of the best guitar tones of all time. But yeah, it was funny because I got quite a few comments on some of my videos with people who had clearly watched that, and they were kind of like... Yeah, they were parroting clearly a lot of the stuff that had been said in there, and there was a lot of misinformation, and there was a lot of personal attacks against people that I know. So they got banned because this isn't a democracy. You know, it's like somebody's YouTube channel. It actually helps to moderate it. And I had some neo-fascist apologists pop up in my comments as well, so they get smashed with a ban hammer pretty quickly. But otherwise, most of you guys are really cool. So how long have I been playing guitar, Ashton? I have been playing guitar since I was about 4 years old. There's videos of me as a kid walking around going, yeah, look at me. I need a wah-wah pedal. I need to find these videos, actually. And I probably started playing seriously when I was about 14. And that was because I heard Thin Lizzy and I heard Gary Moore and I heard Stevie Ray Vaughan for the first time. And I was like, oh... You can play guitar like that. You don't just have to play... Wipeout's sick anyway, so... Where's my tone, man? Oh, I've turned everything down, that's why. Oh, this is cool. An engineering review of the Axe 2. Yeah, that guy. 2 and 3 channel dual rectifier. I like the Rev Gs. They don't necessarily sound different. Sorry, they don't necessarily sound better, but they do sound different, I find. So, any ideas of chambered bodies? I've got a really light Les Paul, and I don't know if it's chambered or not. In which case, it's a great sounding guitar. If it is chambered, then cool. But, what was the thing? I'm glad you're not the neighbor. Yeah. Hey, to be honest, I don't really play that loud at home. My room's got a little bit of treatment, and because I spend so much time doing audio stuff, I try not to crank it too much. I went to headless guitars. Yeah, my very first guitar was a headless guitar. It was a Hondo Laser. I love the look of like the Kiesel Vaders and Ormsby Dual Goliath. I have Les Paul fever. Someone hide my wallet from me. Yeah, I've definitely got a few non-chambered Les Pauls. Gary Moore, End of the World. Doug had a question about AC/DC songs, so I'm going to play an AC/DC song. I'll bring up a Marshall patch because that's what we want, and I'll grab I've got a really nice SG that my buddy Tim at MT's working on at the moment for Akadax kind of stuff. All right. My favorite AC/DC song to play is Sin City. Oh, that's a little bit loud. And I'm in drop C sharp. So you don't play AC/DC in drop C sharp, unfortunately. Half set down's cool though. How does it go? Well, he does a really cool little... So yeah, I reckon that's my favorite AC/DC song to play, but I love just any Akadaka song with that. Wasted Years intro. Yeah. Something like that. What a song. Riff Raff's great. See you later, Courtney. Thanks for tuning in, man. And a shout out to the home musician who make the amazing Stompbox buddies. I've put these on a lot of my pedals. These little 3D printed things that go on the end of your things. So if you go to thehomemusician.com, I love these. And I've got them on my AX8, and for live stuff, they're so handy. So Courtney, you make great stuff. Thank you, man. Riff Raff is really tricky. Bending steel with his bare head. AC/DC at Boston Garden in 81. Whoa. Do I know any Buckethead licks? No. But there's been a few people who have said I sound like Buckethead, and I take that as a massive compliment. Either that or because I'm tall, but I'm not that tall. Yeah, those buttons are really nice. And you can get them in like hot pink and stuff like that, which I'm all about. Boston Garden, 81. Gee, man, that would have been a time to be alive and watch that. Tyler, you'd think the last thing I want to do after work is listen to a guy play guitar, but here I am. Thanks, man. Thanks for tuning in. You remind me more of Alex Lifeson. I think I'm more an Alex kind of player. I can't do much of the Buckethead. He does some ridiculous... Buckethead reminds you a lot of Paul Gilbert. Scorpions and Iron Maiden. Oh, man. Was that like Blackout Tour or Love at First Sting or something? Do I like Blue Murder? Yeah, man. How does Billy go? something like that. Do I like Volbeat? I've seen Volbeat live a few times, and they're a really, really good live band. The singer's voice isn't my favorite thing, but I kind of get what they're doing. It's like Stray Cats Metallica or something. Do I live stream often? I try to do one about this time every week, as like a Q&A kind of thing. So, and I put out like a video nearly every day on guitar playing or guitar gear and stuff like that. So, try to keep pretty busy over here. I hope you're enjoying the stream as well. Valley of the Kings, that's the one. There you go. Ashton, thank you so much, man. If there's any topics you would like me to cover, please don't hesitate, because I try to write back to everybody on here. And that's awesome that a random live stream showed up and you're going to subscribe. Champion, how good's that? It's actually Elvis Metallica. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a bit more like it. Van Halen, Scorpions, Dokken, Metallica, and Kingdom Come. Kingdom Come! That is a band name I've not heard of for a long time. How are they live? Oh, that's really interesting. That's super cool. Guilty pleasure bands. Do Hall & Oates count as a guilty pleasure, or is that just a pleasure? And 80s pop a lot of the time, I think, is my guilty pleasure, or maybe 70s prog. Let's hear some Accept. Yeah, boy. Oh man, Balls to the Wall was one of the first albums I actually ever bought, believe it or not. Only good Dokken riff is the one after Breaking the Chains solo. Oh, I don't know, Dokken have some cool riffs. A lot of it's pretty samey, but I mean, every song is E minor, C, and D, so there's that restriction. Phil X, yeah, actually, I have heard that version, and God, it's good. Why does your bass have 6 strings? Weird. One of them 60 string, super short scale basses. This coffee's excellent. I'm making it last. Best guitar solo song, What Love Can Be. That's a pretty good solo. I totally understand why people ever played Launceston. Never played in Tassie. I've been to Launceston as a kid. There's a Kingdom Come song called Midnight Cruiser or something. Let's see. Twilight Cruiser. I really like this song. It's kind of got a Pink Floydy vibe, and I hope I don't get a copyright strike from this, but you know, you live, you learn. Is this from the second album? Kingdom Come from the album Twilight Cruiser. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a whole Zeppelin influence that they got totally ripped for, but that's like a really heavy Zepp Floyd to me. I really like that song. Yeah, he's got those. I used to do the song Get It On too. Yeah, really? Wow, that's kind of cool. That's kind of got the Black Dog vibe in there as well. Let's see. Do you like it? Yes. Do you like it and get it on? I think of the two. I mean, it was straight up. Weren't they signed to like a mega advance or something like that? The singer is killer. And the Bonham band had some cool stuff. Does your band play all originals live? It depends on the show. If we're ever... One of the things about where I live here in Perth is it's like not a massive original scene, so we maybe do like a headline original show once or twice a year, and we try not to overplay too much, but we play a lot of regional shows, so 3 hours a night, so we do play originals and covers. But if we're on tour, often interstate or overseas, then it's all original. And one of the good things, one of the bad things is that most of the people who like what we do live on the other side of the world. So it's always nice to go on tour and only play your own stuff. But then when we're at home, it depends on the gig, really. Do you ever do backup singing at your shows? Yeah, I try. I feel a lawsuit coming on. This is an STR guitar. It's made in Japan. And it's pretty... I mean, the headstock's different, so it doesn't count, right? But yeah, it's like just a really nice vintage style, Gibson style guitar. Whoa! I've bent that string way out of tune. Not way, like a quarter tone, but where are we at the chat? It's a really good guitar. So yeah, I sing a few harmonies and things like that, but you wouldn't rely on me in a pinch live anyway. It's something that that's probably the thing I've worked the hardest on the most over the years, is just A, being able to sing and play, and B, trying to be at least a little bit useful. I haven't tried any Chapman guitars. When I tune could be a Gibby. I mean, it could be those like the fact that I'm trying to do a Jimmy Page. Maybe the string's about to break, actually. Give him a stretch. These are pretty fresh strings, I think. Sounds thick, this guitar. I really like it. Breaking the Chains. No robo-tune. Unfortunately not. Breaking the strings around me. Yeah, that cherry Les Paul's pretty awesome. That's a pretty special sounding guitar, even though none of the hardware or electronics are original in there. Does my wife play guitar? She can play Smoke in the Water, but yeah, she doesn't play. Anytime I encourage her to, there's like a few things she can play, and she has a little bit of fun with it. She really likes that cigar box guitar that I've got, with 3 or 4 strings on it. Can't even count. You can slack tune that one and play a bit of slide. So Lynch, EDC. Oh yeah, that's the 80s, man. Like FGN Guitars. That sounds like a very Australian name. Hey, you try those fucking guitars? But in all seriousness, no, I haven't tried any of those. I really like that in, what is that? Into the Fire, that... If we could play with anyone dead or alive, who would it be? good question. Really good question. I don't know. Would love to. I reckon my dream gig would still be if Phil Lynott was alive to play guitar in Thin Lizzy. That'd be a dream gig for me. John would be pretty sweet as well. Or maybe Whitesnake. That would be a pretty sick gig. I've played in a Whitesnake tribute band a couple of times, and that's pretty awesome. Rob Chapman. But he has to breathe through a coffee straw versus Henning, but he has one hand tied to his... My God. Who wins? Steve Stevens, yeah. Someone mentioned this... Gary Moore, End of the World, with The Lick of Death in it. Give me some cheat modes. What did you do? Let's see. Hang on. I need to sit properly to play this. Something like that. Damn, that's a hard lick to play. Yeah, that solo destroyed me the first time I heard it. So great. See you later, Tyler. Peace out, man. Miracle Man, that's another really good one too. What kind of monitoring was I using live? If most of the time I would just plug into the PA and use the in-house monitors because I'm incredibly lazy. If I knew the monitors were going to suck, I would take a guitar cab and run direct to front of house through cab sims and then take a separate line and go through a cab. Thank you, Ashton. I don't think I'm compared to some guys now that I really play particularly fast, but I mean, when you look at the likes of your Jason Richardsons and your Rick Grahams of the world, it's like they're in like 7th gear and I'm in 3rd. Even Gary Moore, his stuff, like, my God. My in-ears are not custom. They're right here. They're these Audiofly ones. Audiofly are actually based in Perth, which is cool. And I've got the Sennheiser G4s we're using for wireless, and then I actually had to fix these because the little casing came off. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but I used some tape, and they're back to working fine again, which I'm really happy with. These are the AF, I can't even remember the model name, but they're pretty good. I would love to get a set of custom molded ears. Our drummer Cam has a set of molded ears that he got done, and he absolutely swears by them. So, broken pickup ring on the STR. Yeah, that's what happens when. Can you guys see that? It's taped up. That's what happens when I change pickups in a guitar and then change them back and snap the pickup ring like a genius. Why is everybody saying bye to Tyler? Tyler's not going anywhere. He's still here. But the thing, anyway, the speed thing, I find with 3-note per string stuff, like... that feels pretty cruisy. But the 2-note per string stuff. I have always struggled with my entire life. No matter how much I practice it, it's not as easy as the 3-note per string stuff. So if I was going to play this pentatonic thing, I'd probably go, because I'm a cheat. I recently started guitar on my own without a teacher or anything. What's the best way to practice to get going? That's an excellent question. My next question is, what sort of music do you like? This is a question I ask everybody when they come for a guitar lesson. What sort of music do you like? I'm guessing it's rock music if you found this channel, but yeah. Who are some of your favorite bands? And if you could choose 1 or 2 players to play like, who would you want to play like? Yeah, I think, and honestly, I think it comes down to how much you practice, because I got obsessed with the 3-note per string stuff as a kid. And practiced it a lot. The most practical guitar and rig for travel gigs. Honestly, I would say probably like a Strat with a humbucker would be really practical, because if you need to take the neck off, really easy. If you need to replace anything in it, really easy. You've got the neck pickup sounds out of a Strat. You've got the bridge pickup. Yeah, actually, that's another good way of saying it, the one you like as well. That's really the true answer. But if I had to like think of an ideal rig, it'd be some kind of something that if shit goes wrong, it's easy to fix. That's my goal with travel guitars. And yeah, like for me, I use an Axe Effects, and I normally take my PRS because that's what I like. If I take a backup, I'll take my PRS Custom as well, because that can do a lot of different sounds. The Chappers versus Henning question. Well, you know, they're both very good at what they do, and I wouldn't be doing YouTube if it wasn't for those two guys. So yeah, I mean, they're both funny guys, and from what I understand, they actually have a sense of humor. And man, if you're gonna do YouTube and you're gonna put up with guitar players, as we saw earlier, you kind of got to have a sense of humor about yourself, because everyone's going to hang shit on you, and that's fine, you know, whatever. I'm sure they're just pretty normal dudes, you know. Led Zeppelin, Foo Fighters, mainly rock and alternative. Awesome. I like all that kind of stuff. Yamaha Pacificas are great guitars. Whoever said that, Hans. So Ashton, what I would say to you is, you're on YouTube, so there's so many fantastic resources. But my advice would be learn songs by the bands you love. So, for example, if you like Led Zeppelin, the great thing about liking Led Zeppelin is Led Zeppelin did rock, blues, they had almost metal songs, they had songs in alternate tunings, they had ballads, they had epics, they had everything like that. So, for example, if you're a Zeppelin fan, I remember the first Zeppelin riff I learnt was this. Was Heartbreaker, and then obviously there's a solo that which I loved, and I still love, even though a lot of people give Jimmy crap for that because it's sloppy. It's got attitude. That's important. So learn songs by bands that you love, and what I find happens is a lot of the time people put emphasis on, you have to know how to read music. You have to know theory. Those are things, in my opinion, that you should learn when you feel like you need to learn them. Like, say if you're playing Heartbreaker, I remember just going, this is a cool pattern of notes. And then I remember reading somewhere, someone was talking about something called a blues scale. And I was like, what the hell's a blues scale? And then somebody made the point to me, it's like, hey, you know when you play Heartbreaker, you're playing the blues scale. I was like, oh, That's pretty interesting. So Jimmy Page just played a blues scale. If I went, would that be a riff too? It's like, yeah, congratulations, you're creating music. And by focusing on songs, as Hans said, a great piece of music always makes you feel a certain way, and it's probably going to trigger certain emotions. So you want to try, like when I listened to Heartbreak, I remember thinking, this is such a cool song. I wanted to play it until I felt as cool, which never happened because you'll never be as cool as Jimmy Page. But you can try. I certainly tried and then gave up. But yeah, learn songs by your favorite bands, and you'll run into challenges. Like you might be trying to play the guitar solo in Heartbreaker, and you sit down to learn it, and you're like, hang on, I'm trying to pick everything. It doesn't sound the same, and it's like, well, because you got to do a hammer-on and a pull-off. And you'll learn a brand new technique from that, and you might practice. So if you kind of follow that and just try to enjoy playing, man. Like if you've just started, don't worry too much about the gear you have. Just worry about playing and really worry about, like I said, don't worry. Just focus on enjoying music and learning songs. And you'll find certain songs will require certain techniques. And then when you discover what, you're trying to learn a Foo Fighters song or something, and there's like all down picking in it, then you can go and practice that riff to practice your down picking. And that might make you want to play a Metallica song after that. And it will definitely get you into different styles of music, which is cool. Well, there you go. Exactly. Been playing for years. Have to enjoy playing. I don't know Robert Baker, but I reckon we would become best buddies really quickly. I said that in my last chat, that Robert's just kind of like the southern version of me. Really similar taste, really similar guitar players. Probably guys who both love Red Beach or something like that. Where are we at? So yeah, in terms of what did I do when I started off playing? I loved, like I said, when I started, loved Thin Lizzy, learnt every Thin Lizzy song that I could. And then because I liked Thin Lizzy, I got into Gary Moore and learnt a lot of Gary Moore songs. And because Gary Moore did blues albums, I started listening to blues, and I listened to Stevie, and I listened to Jeff Beck, and I read Baker as Tepper. Interesting. Or Pepper. And then because of that, I got into blues, and then also because I like Thin Lizzy, I kind of got into Priest and metal, and then I got into Paul Gilbert, and then I got into Vinnie Moore and Yngwie Malmsteen, and I've been playing pretty consistently for about 2 years, but I just find the learning process hard. Tend to learn the song, but always skip the solo. Okay. Really, really common thing. What I would do is a really good solo to learn to start with would be learn the guitar solo in You Shook Me All Night Long by AC/DC, which is... Even just learn the first half, because that's a really good one. There's a couple little moves, Angus Youngisms, that everybody does, like this lick. So try to internalize some of those little moves that he does, and like, I guess the kind of stock rock licks. You go through, I remember I used to buy Guitar Techniques magazine, where you had Dave Kilminster, you had Guthrie Govan, you had Jamie Humphries, all wrote for this magazine, all ridiculous killer players. Obviously Guthrie's like the man now, but they used to do things like 10 great rock licks and stuff like that, and I'm sure you can find those on YouTube. And yeah, go through, find some videos where it's like 10 easy rock licks and stuff like that. Can I play Over the Mountain? Is that how it goes? Whoa, something like that anyway. I need to revisit some Randy stuff. Big time. What's another... Revelation Mother Earth. That had a really cool... God, that guy was good, wasn't he? Have to learn with a vinyl record and slow it down. Big time. Do you recommend finding tutorials for solos or listening, trying to figure it out by ear? Honestly, because you've got YouTube and you've got, because you've got the ability to learn all these kind of licks, doing it that way would be a really good way. Or actually, here's really great advice. If you want to learn how to solo, learn how to play the blues. And there's so many great lessons from great players that you can check out. And literally, you know, just to kind of start with soloing over 12-bar blues. And doing that and, you know, learning the blues scale and the pentatonic will be a great way to get into that. And you can focus on really simple licks. If you look up, Paul Gilbert has a really cool thing on how to improvise, where he says, you know, take a blues pattern and then you might just go... Yeah, learn some straightforward solos, or like I said, go and... I mean, Paul Gilbert's an amazing teacher. That little thing on improvising and playing solos where you can take a couple of notes. But think about it. You got the blues, you got rock, you got metal. Black Sabbath started off as a blues band, and it certainly makes sense when you hear a lot of that. However Into the Void goes. All right, see you, John. Take care, mate. So yeah, where am I at? I've missed a few questions. Have you played the PRS Custom 2408? I haven't, but God, they look good. With the pentatonic down for the most part, I'll look into the blues scale. Honestly, like, really quickly, so if you know the pentatonic, say in A, what I would do is play a little boogie thing, you know, and target an A note. That one right there, 7th fret of the D string. And you can approach it either from the note below it or the note above it. So. You can try all the variations on that and just kind of jam and have some fun improvising with it. And the pentatonic's really cool because you're playing over, you know, A minor pentatonic played over an A minor chord. The notes are all either a chord tone like A, C, and E. They're all chord tones. And the notes that aren't chord tones like D, you can bend up to E, which is a chord tone. And, you know, when you play the pentatonic, they're the cool bendy notes. So that's another thing you could do with the pentatonic if you want to get into bending. And, you know, a lot of people focus on playing really fast, but I find that work on bending in tune and work on your vibrato. And they're the things that make you sound like a really good guitar player. Just being able to, you know, have good pitch and have a really nice vibrato, and from there then you can work on all the speed stuff and things like that. So, oh wow, that would have been cool, jamming with your brother. I heard Tommy Emmanuel used to do that with his brother Phil. They would sit there with guitars and just jam all day and train their ears, and that would have been pretty amazing to hear. Let's hear your best American accent. We played in Like we played through Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas and Missouri and a lot of those kind of states a lot. And the most common thing is, you get this huge farm guy who, he looks like he spends all day lifting things, just this giant muscles popping out of here, tattoos everywhere. And I can't be like, oh my God, man, you guys are badass. You guys are fucking badass, man. That song, Could It Be Love? Like, they'll always like the softer stuff or something like that. So, man, I would love to come back to Rocklahoma. All right. So maybe let's start a fan petition or something and get us there. I love that festival so much. So yeah, that's my really bad, terrible American accent. It's a Southern accent. Yeah, can't. And having said all of that, to all the Americans listening, I feel like Americans get a really bad rap for a lot of reasons overseas, where people are like, bloody Yanks. And my experience with the majority of the American human beings that I've met, Americans are so warm and so hospitable and just great people, which is why I love going back to that country. And whatever you make of the political situation, most Americans I've met are just absolute 5-star dudes. So, and obviously I married one, so that's how, that's how much I like Americans. My wife's American, and I love her to bits, and I love the country to bits. So, all right, Ashton, take care, man. Please stay in touch and go and play some riffs, man. Enjoy it. Be more like a dude, gnarly. Oh man, we went to Australia and they had these like surf breaks, which were just so rad, man. See, this is why I don't do American accents. All right, my phone is about to die, so all of you kind people who tuned in today, thank you so much. This has been the most fun live stream I've done. I will do one at the same time next week. You've all been awesome. Stay safe, stay excellent. If you've got any further questions you would like me to follow up and answer, get them in the comments. Otherwise, see you next time.